Hi, I'm Will. Good to meet you. Um, I have a question that's been on my mind for a while. I thought I'd just kind of think about here. Think about in this space. Um, and that question is, what does a content version of myself look like? I'd be curious to hear your answers too, but I guess when I think about this question, my head immediately goes to I need to be content. And I guess I feel some of the things I think I need to be present in my life to be content would be um, I guess the ability to express myself openly and freely. I guess if I felt I wasn't safe to communicate how I wanted to communicate, I think that would be really hard for me to enjoy life and feel content, because I really like expressing myself. I like music. I like being creative. I'm making this video right now to speak to you because I like thinking about things. I like talking about things, and I think it's really important. And I've been finding increasingly important for my mental health to constantly be sharing stuff and being me, because I guess something I really have come to understand about myself recently is that more and more over time anyway, is that there are parts of what I've been through that have taught me it's not okay to say certain things. It's not okay to express my feelings authentically. I should hold them back. I should manage this. I should kind of keep it in my lane. And I can handle this. But something I guess I really noticed as I was going about my day was that there was an increasingly heavy weight kind of accumulating on me. It felt like I was dragging myself through this vast landscape, and I could just almost feel like extra dumbbells kind of appearing on my back more and more. And I didn't realise there was that much weight until I was experimenting with how I journal recently. And I was just kind of pointing out all the weights on my back, right? And, I guess I felt at the time what's this going to do? But I kept doing it anyway. And something I'm really noticing is that the weights are getting smaller. The weights are getting lighter. And I feel like that ratio of actions to thoughts to feelings in my head is kind of balancing out a little more. I always feel like there's a lot of feelings for me, then thinking, then action. So yeah, a content version of me, to come back to the question, would be being able to have, I guess, that better balance, that better ratio, actions to thoughts to feelings, because if I feel too much, for me, I kind of get paralyzed. I can't move, I can't do anything. I've experienced a lot of panic attacks in my time. I've had night terrors, so I found it like my feelings were almost something I had to manage and hide because they were so intense, because I'd feel so much anxiety, I'd feel so much tension, and these were all these weights on my back that I thought were shameful to carry. And yeah, I've been in therapy for years. I've been talking to counsellors and coaches and whatnot, but I really feel that, I guess, with the constant stream of what's in my head, of all those little anxious feelings, they build up over time, and they almost kind of solidify in my back. I always feel the weight always. So journaling more has been just kind of huge for me, because it's been hey, we always talk about journaling. I feel like I talk about journaling a lot, but I don't do it as much, once a week. But I guess for me, because of the quality of feelings I have to kind of do it more often, I guess. guess. That works for me. So I guess a big part of what's content for me is kind of having that ability to process my feelings very presently, very readily, and kind of understand how I feel a lot, because otherwise those just destroy my ability to take action. They destroy my ability to connect. They destroy my ability to engage with the values that I really care about, like authenticity and creativity. I think what would make me what would lead to a content life for me as well would be I guess managing the admin of life in a way that's kind of a little less draining for me, because I guess I feel that admin can be incredibly exhausting for me. I get bored doing admin, all kinds of admin, and I've come to realise, I think recently, that in part that is because there's a lot of those weights again on my shoulders that really get in the way of my ability to like process things holistically, like logically. I'm like swimming in this like ocean of my own feelings while like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube in the middle of the ocean. And it just feels really bizarre, and I look back on it and I'm like, I'm in the ocean a bunch, and I'm swimming through, and it's high tide, and there's huge waves that are crashing on me, and I'm like trying to struggle for water, but in all of that, I'm trying to like solve a Rubik's Cube. I'm like, dude, I got this cube to do. I gotta solve it. I gotta solve this puzzle because I gotta get to the next thing. And it can be something as small and stupid as like, I went to the shop today, and I was on my phone trying to remember my PIN for my card to pay for my groceries, and the internet wasn't working very well where I was stood, and I stood there for a bit, and I was trying to get it to show me my PIN. I was getting really frustrated because I stood there for a good 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, when it should just be like a minute or two, you know, boop, paid, on your way. Because I was on one of those self-serve tills. And yeah, I was getting really frustrated, I was getting really embarrassed, I was feeling shameful, I was feeling stupid. I couldn't fix this, but like it wasn't logically my fault. So I kind of just took a breather there and do some breathing techniques I found really helpful to kind of manage a lot of the shame and guilt I was feeling for like being on this self-serve checkout for a while. And I think that's really interesting, because maybe what's, you know, batting in the direction of that kind of content life for me here is the ability, I guess, to ride those feelings out, to like feel what I feel, accept it, and kind of build resilience with it. So yeah, I think a huge part of being content for me is resilience. I think if I feel resilient, I feel like I can go into challenges and stuff's going to be hard, and I'm going to feel those huge crashing emotional waves, and I know I can get through it and I can persevere. That's a huge part of contentment for me, because something I've really noticed in my life is that like stuff happens, stuff's chaotic, stuff's challenging, you have to change jobs, you have to move somewhere, you have to get into a new relationship, you have to just like, I don't know, take some feedback on the chin in your professional environment and like grow from that. And historically I've ran away from like that kind of adversity. I've ran away from like constructive criticism and development. Like I think back to when I was at university, and I did a film degree, and I absolutely hated showing my films in class. I could feel the secondhand anxiety now. I hated people watching my films because, if I'm honest, at the time I hated my work, I hated myself, I didn't think I was good enough. So the idea of sitting down in a room full of peers who I kind of felt like an imposter being in the room of, because I'm dyslexic and I have a different way of processing things, I felt a lot of anxiety, felt a lot of shame. I think it's kind of interesting how incongruent that can make things feel sometimes, because I don't feel like that as much now, right? We go back to me in the supermarket literally 2 hours ago. Yeah, I felt a bit of guilt. I felt a bit of shame. But I'm going to go back to the grocery store and I'm going to buy some groceries again. And I might get stalled up at the till. And you know what? That's okay. Because I'm going to struggle. I'm going to look silly. I'm going to mess up. I'm a dude. We're all just people trying to figure stuff out. And like, I've been using a different card for a while and I forgot the pin of the card I wanted to use now. So when I talk about it now, I'm like, well, okay, cool. But then that really backs in the direction of like kind of what's being content for me. Like, I'm being resilient there. Which I feel really proud of myself for saying. Yeah, I guess some other things that make me think about kind of what would be a content version of myself. I guess I would say engaging in self-care and being out and about. You know, I talk about self-care. I think about it a lot because historically I was really bad at it. I'm still working on that. But like, you know, self-care feels so vague, I feel. I get really annoyed with the word self-care sometimes because it's kind of just, the definition in my head is like a thing that's like good for you, I guess. So I really feel like I don't know what that was. I'm still not sure I know what that is, but one thing I do know for damn sure right now is that like self-care for me is like journaling. It's like going for a walk. It's like playing an instrument. It's expressing myself. That many. Those are the things I kind of need to do to kind of have self-care. Have a long shower, man. I've been thinking about like going to a masseuse. I've never been to a masseuse. I have some anxious feelings around that because I don't like the idea of a stranger touching me. I'm not really a touchy person. So yeah, I guess content is just processing stuff, self-care, doing self-care, exercising. I like to go to the gym. The gym is pretty cool, pretty fun. So getting the blood pumping, yeah. Feels really good for me. I guess something else I think about when I think about having a content version of myself is to have, I guess, relationships that feel really like they feed me positively. And I guess this is going to be the final broad point I touch on here, I feel. But I feel like content version of me has these kinds of relationships that like feed into all these other things I mentioned before, you know, like being able to express myself, be creative. You know, I'd love to have some kind of musical collaborators around me, some creative collaborators. Unfortunately, I don't really have that, if I'm honest. And I'm sad about that. I feel lonely about that sometimes because I like collaborating with people. All of the times I think some of the most nourishing times I've had with people are in a really collaborative way. When like I'm making music with people, I'm talking about feelings with people, all of that stuff's great. I love that. But like, just because of my geography, that isn't in high supply with kind of where I'm at in my immediate location. But like, I guess I get conflicted with this because something I feel I notice is for me, I almost feel like I create this environment where it's harder for people to reach out to me. Like, I don't necessarily feel like I make an effort. I could be kind of avoidant attachment with my friendships, perhaps, where I kind of come and go. Like I come in a ball of intensity and then I disappear for a while. And I'm really trying to be kind of more consistent with that because I guess I feel also, you know, as I kind of mentioned a bit before, sometimes it's hard for me to communicate my needs. So when I'm with friends, and you know, I have some friends I've had for a very long time that are lovely people, but I find it really hard to just go, hey, like, I want this to my friends. I always come in and I'm like, yeah, man, I'm easy. We'll do whatever. Whatever you want. I'm happy with that. I'm fine with that. You know, that's my comfort zone. That's fine with me for people to like set the tone of things. But something I really notice is that it's so hard for me to go, say, I just want to like play some music, or I want to like go to a concert, or I want to like go on a traveling adventure with you as a friend. Because those are things I love. I love to wander around. I'm Will, wandering Will, I often refer to myself as. I'm trying to get to every UK city, and I've been to 2/3 of them now. I've got to go more north and more south to kind of tick them all off the list, but man, that really enthralls me. I love going to new places, and I just, apart from my wonderful partner, there's nobody in my life really that does that, or is as interested in that as me, maybe is a fairer comment. But also, yeah, the creative collaboration, like I have creative collaborators, but they're quite far away, and I go and see them when I can, and I collaborate with them when I can, and when I do, it's very nourishing. But that's not realistic all the time, because of what I do for work, what they do for work. You know, they're tired, I'm tired sometimes, adult life. Oh man, it's rough sometimes. So I find it really hard to, I guess, intentionally ask for my needs to be met with my friends. You know, and that's kind of on me in a way. You know, I've been in an environment where I've learned that my needs didn't matter. And that's painful. You know, even as I say that now, that's painful. But that's something I've been really fighting against. So I think, again, to come back to the top of this question, and maybe to round out this exploration of mine, the growing edge here might be to practice asking for my needs met, even if it leads to rejection, and just practice saying, hey, you know, this is what I kind of feel I need here. And even as I say that, I immediately want to kind of clarify it with like, no, like we'll find somewhere in the middle, and we'll like, you know, we'll be a bit in the middle, and that's okay. And you know, I'll ask for something, and then you know, your needs matter too, so let's like negotiate this. Which I don't think is necessarily unhealthy, but I also find it's really, really hard to just be like, oh, you know, I just want to talk about some music. And maybe some music you heard and you were interested, and music I heard and I was interested in, and you know, I think that would be cool. But I find that hard because sometimes I feel the way I explain and explore music doesn't always connect with everyone. And I guess that's something I really value, connecting with people. My romantic relationship is great. I'm happy with that. But yeah, she doesn't satisfy my creative dimension, which, you know, is, I think that's reasonable. In my mind, it feels unreasonable to ask for one person to meet all your needs. I think that's unhealthy. So I think having friends to cover the creative needs is a good balance. But I don't have that, so yeah, really struggle with asking for that. Yeah, I feel a little sad now reflecting on that. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there. If you were listening to the whole thing, thank you so much. I appreciate your ear. Good luck in the world. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon. Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments.